Now, I'll invite on stage Ms. Leslie Shannon, Head of Ecosystem and Trend Scouting Nokia, to deliver her keynote, her opening notes for the Women in ICT panel.
I am back with you today, not to talk about the metaverse, but to introduce our panel with a few opening notes about women in ICT. Obviously, I'm a woman, I'm in ICT, so I've got some things to say about this. Now, yesterday, at the very opening of this really quite informative and lovely conference, the CEO of E&, he pointed out that within our industry, it's extremely important that we understand the digital needs of our customers. And he was actually bold enough to say that we as an industry have not done a very good job of that. And that's how, we have not perhaps reaped the rewards that we were hoping to on some of our investments in this new digital economies. And he's right. But understanding your customers, it's much more than just running some focus groups sometime. And in most cases, 50% of our industry's customers are actually women. And women and men, in many ways they're similar, but in many ways they're different. And in fact, as a woman, we can always tell when things have been designed by men who are not aware of women's needs. One example that I run into all the time is in public bathrooms, the counter where the sinks are, and then the mirror is here. I have glasses. I need to be able to get close to the mirror to put on my eyeliner. If the counter is really wide, I take off my glasses and I can't see anything. I'm like, this bathroom was designed by a man. It does not understand that women need to get close to the mirror to put on their eyeliner when they're actually in a public bathroom. And I bet none of you guys ever thought of that. And so this is why, this is a fairly frivolous example. We're not in architecture, so we can't do anything about that. But just how you can't even imagine the challenges that someone who is not like you might have if you haven't walked in their shoes. And so that's part of why it's important to make sure that you do have representation of, yes, multiple cultures, but also genders for sure. But it's not just about hiring some people. It's about making sure that women are actually high enough in your organization so that their voice will be listened to. Because it's one thing to have some junior people say, we need to make some access to the mirror for women. And unless the voice is powerful enough, it's not going to get heard, and it's not going to actually change the depth of that counter. And so that's really the challenge where we see things right now. Not only are women not that present in the ICT industry, we're way below 50%, but in my particular field of the metaverse, McKinsey just recently did a survey. Well, they released the results last week, specifically on metaverse usage by gender. And what they found was that of the power users of the metaverse, and these are people who use the metaverse for more than 3 hours every week, and I am certainly one of those people, 36% of those were women, only 29% were men. And in every single metaverse usage metric, women outnumber men by a statistically significant amount. I don't know what the reason is, but the metaverse right now is being used by women. But unfortunately, if you look at the leadership of the companies that are building the metaverse, they're actually male. Of the Metaverse Standards Forum, which is really trying to create the standards for the metaverse, only 8% of the member companies in the Metaverse Standards Forum are led by women. And if you look at the amount of investment in terms of the metaverse, a really small percentage of the companies that are building the metaverse that can receive venture capital are led by women. And so we're getting, again, this imbalance of women who are using a product, but it's being built by men. And, I can tell you that if you have a, majority female market, it might really help to have some female representation. And so another example that might surprise the gentleman in the office is that, in the room, is that more than 50% of my pieces of clothing do not have pockets. Generally, fashion designers like to try to keep a slim outline for the female figure. They don't want us, especially if we're wearing a dress. Dresses really don't have pockets. And okay, that might not seem like a really serious problem, but if we think about the fact that if I have a smartphone, but I don't have a pocket, I have to carry it in my hand. And as we look at the development of, say, augmented reality glasses, as I mentioned in my talk yesterday, the initial structure of this is probably going to be, for consumers, augmented reality glasses where the processing for them is coming off the glasses, so the glasses will have a nice slim form factor, and the processing going into a smartphone. Well, that's great, except one of the whole points of having augmented reality in your glasses is to leave your hands free. And if I don't have pockets in 50% of my clothes, and I have to carry the phone around to have the glasses work, you have not solved my problem. And so it could be that in the future, the company that actually comes up with glasses that have processing that is not dependent on a smartphone suddenly takes off amongst women. And in fact, it might be a woman who designs that structure because they understand the pocket challenge. And so this is, an imaginary example of how companies that actually understand, and I mean truly understand, the 50% of us who are out there who are female and cater to that can actually create an edge over their competition. So, so as we go forward, keep in mind that, we're not all the same, and it's not just about having, as I said, women in your company, though that's important. It's about having women with high enough positions so that their voice will be heard. And when they say, I don't have pockets, let's look at another way to do this, they will be listened to. And so with that, I'd like to actually bring on a lot of women who really deserve to be listened to. And so thank you so much for listening to me, and let's go listen to the women of ICT. Thanks very much.